to House of a Warrior. This is another Sickle Cell Monday, and today I have a doctor in the house, like a real doctor, guys. Like, I'm not even joking. This is my uncle, but also a doctor. Hi, and
Hi,
welcome to House of a Warrior.
Thank you very much.
People here have been eating everything I feed them. So they're not sure whether I'm telling them the truth or lies, but I'm so glad today you've agreed to come to the channel and explain to us further everything we need to know about sickle cell and help us create awareness, right? And so, guys, sit back, get a notebook, take some notes, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell another friend to check us out, and let's fill this house up. Okay, so I have a few questions for you.
Let me introduce myself.
Oh yeah, sorry guys. He's doing a better job than me. Sorry guys. Yeah, of course. Introduce yourself.
Of course. My name is Samuel Yoaya. I am a medical doctor. I qualified from the School of Medicine in 1981, and I've been practicing medicine for all this time.
Wow.
Okay.
1981.
And that's when I qualified as the medical doctor from Nairobi University.
Wow.
And I've been in practice for all this time.
Nice.
Yes.
How is it being a doctor?
Well, there's challenges there, but all in all, I must say my experience has been good.
That's
Yes.
good.
So what do you want to know about sickle cell? I hope I will be able to give you a good resume,
Yeah.
since it's quite some time anyway,
Yeah.
since I managed patients with sickle cell.
Okay. It's basically just the basic information about sickle cell, which I'm sure you know because you were my doctor for a very, very long time.
I hope I'll remember as much.
Okay. First question: what is sickle cell?
Of course, we must begin from there. We must begin from what is sickle cell.
Yes.
Sickle cell is a genetic disease, which for you to get it, you have to inherit it from both your parents.
Mm-hmm.
That means it is an autosomal recessive gene.
Mm-hmm.
What that means is that both your parents must be carriers for you to get sickle cell.
Mm-hmm.
So in a situation where one parent is not a carrier,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one is a carrier,
Yeah.
then the chances of a child developing sickle cell is 50%.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that means every pregnancy, the chance of that pregnancy being a sickler, being a carrier,
Mm-hmm.
is 50%.
Being a carrier.
Yeah, that means one parent is normal,
Mm-hmm.
the other parent is a carrier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, when both parents are carriers, the chances of a child getting sickle cell is now 50%. Yeah, that means you inherit an S gene from one parent
Mm-hmm.
and an S gene from the other parent,
Mm-hmm.
then you get sickle cell.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if you inherit an A gene and the other parent gives you an S gene, then you become a trait.
Okay.
Yeah, that is basically what it means. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then
And a trait in this case means having
a trait, you actually is a carrier, means you are in a position, you have the gene, but it does not manifest itself.
Okay.
That is why we were saying it's an autosomal recessive. If it's dominant, then it will manifest itself.
Okay.
But because it's recessive, you will carry it, but it does not manifest itself
Okay.
unless you are exposed to certain very low oxygen tension situations.
Okay.
Yeah. Then you may do what? You may sickle.
Means
Yeah. What happens in sickle cell anemia is this: the blood, when exposed to low tensions, tends to form a sickle. That's where the name comes from. Yeah. The blood tends to form a sickle,
Yeah.
and that's why we say it's sickle cell disease. I don't know whether I've answered your question.
You have actually. You guys, sickle cell, what he said is basically it is an inherited disease, right?
Yes.
And then the other deep stuff, which I'm sure you are listening. Next questions. What are the symptoms to look out for to know that this person has sickle cell?
Yeah, well, usually from a clinical point of view, yeah, there are certain physical features that one may see in a child who has sickle cell anemia. One of them usually is not all people, show them,
Okay.
but you can have bossing on the skull in a person who has sickle cell disease. Yeah, but that's probably what you will see. Yeah. Then after that, later on, as the child grows, after the age of 6 months, you are likely to see the child having yellowness on the eyes and then they begin getting pain. Yeah.
Okay.
So that might actually direct you to start thinking about the possibility of the child having sickle cell. And subsequently upon that, then you may need to do some tests, yeah,
Okay.
just to confirm your suspicion. Yeah. The tests which are normally done are, of course, one which is sickling test, yeah, and then there's what is normally referred to as HB electrophoresis. Now, sickling test is non-specific. Yeah, a person who has SS,
Yeah.
of course, will sickle if
Yeah.
you do a sickling test to them. But also a person who has AS, if you do a sickling test for that blood, it may also show you some sickling. Only that the degree of sickling may vary,
Okay.
but you cannot differentiate the person who has AS and the one who has SS
Okay.
by a sickling test. So you need therefore to do HB electrophoresis, which will now confirm to you that this person is actually a sickler
Okay.
or a trait. Yeah.
Okay. What is a painful crisis? Because I talk about this a lot.
Okay, in sickle cell anemia or the disease, there are basically a number of crises do happen. Yeah, there are four main ones, but there could be others which are not main. The main crisis, normally we call them four crises of sickle cell anemia. The main one, number one, the most common one usually is thrombotic crisis. Then you have what is it called? Aplastic crisis, sequestration crisis, and there's another one which is escaping my mind. Hemolytic crisis. Yeah, it's hemolytic crisis. The common, as I've said, is the thrombotic crisis, and it tends to happen. It's pain in the various parts of the body due to blood, the sickled blood, blocking various blood supply to various areas where there is a blockage because of thrombus, because of the sickling, because of the sickling of the cells. That is what causes the pain. Yeah. Most of the time, the patients will presenting to you will be having pain. Yeah. Then of course some of them can come. They have hemolysis, so you see yellowness in their eyes. Some of them will be pale. That's their plastic kind of thing. Yeah. And the sequestration one, normally the blood goes into the spleen and it's held up there. Yeah. Well, when the cells sickle, they become very adherent and they can easily clump together. That's how you end up with the sickle cell, with the pain. Yes.
Okay, growing up there was a lot of myths and misconceptions about sickle cell. The main ones I had to deal with is I wouldn't get to a certain age and people thinking that this was a disease that they didn't know, so probably they thought it was witchcraft. Like, can you just put it out there and tell us what is true and what is not true? Like, how long can a person living with sickle cell actually live to?
I think there have been advances in medicine over time. Yeah. in the early days, because people didn't know how to manage sickle cell well, uh, people who had sickle cell anemia tended to have early death.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the management had not been. People didn't understand it well, so they were not managing it properly.
Okay.
Yes, but now with the current advances in medicine and the increased knowledge of how the disease operates, people with sickle cell have a chance of living into old age. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, a chance of living into old age. And I personally know a number of sicklers who are older than me, and I'm 68 now.
Okay.
Yeah, so they have lived up to that period, and they have
That's
actually
really
had
nice.
children. Yeah, I know of a case of a lady who has had almost 7 children. Yeah, in her life, and she was a sickler.
Wow.
In fact, initially myself, I didn't believe that she had sickle cell until
Yeah.
I had to do HbA-electrophoresis.
On her to
So
make
yes,
sure.
I just she told me she was a sickler, and I didn't believe her. So
Yeah.
I said, no, let's do this. So we did it, and she basically she had sickle cell.
Wow.
So I don't see why warriors should be worried.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as they do certain things.
Okay.
Yeah, for instance, one needs to ensure that one is well hydrated most of the time. Yeah, because after all, during a thrombotic crisis, the mainstay of treatment of thrombotic crisis basically is rehydrating the patient. Yeah? You have to give them fluids,
Yeah.
and then you have to give them painkillers. Yeah. So a warrior who is ensuring that she or he is well hydrated and is taking a balanced diet, yeah, need not lose hope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that was very encouraging to hear that warriors can actually live to old age, and he knows of some. It's not just a statistic. It's very, very encouraging. Next, what are the management and treatment methods for people living with sickle cell disease?
Basically, what one would want to do in a situation where somebody has sickle cell, we need to understand why the disease actually came about. Yeah? The history of sickle cell anemia, it was a genetic response, yeah, to malaria. Yeah? In the sense that people who had traits, yeah, were thought not to have, they had resistance towards malaria.
Okay.
But people who are not, who have the disease, yeah, unfortunately they are more susceptible to malaria. So there are certain things that therefore you need to do, yeah, to assist them. One of them, of course, is to put them on, because of the high breakdown of red blood cells.
Okay.
Yeah, patients who have sickle cell tend to be put on long-term folic acid
Okay.
treatment, yeah, to help them with the rebuilding the hemoglobin. And then they are put on long-term treatment with pyruvate. Yeah. So these ones tend to protect, to assist them, so that they don't go into kind of hemolysis or things like that.
Okay.
But they need to maintain adequate hydration.
Okay.
Yeah? Because as long as you're well hydrated, the chances of you developing a thrombotic crisis will be reduced.
Okay.
Not eliminated, but
Reduced.
at least reduced.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Of course, there are other things which also will go with that. Painkillers. When a person has a crisis, then you need to give them something to control the pain.
The pain,
Yeah. And there are various in the market. I don't need to enumerate them. Okay.
yeah.
Depending on the level of anemia, that patient, that the individual may have.
Yeah.
There may be need to have transfusion,
Okay.
yeah, to assist them bring their HB up.
Okay.
So those are the kind of measures that you can take to try and manage a patient who has a crisis or has pain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. According to me, I know there's no cure for sickle cell, but there's been talks that the bone marrow transplant, which is commonly known as the stem cell, could possibly be the cure that we've been all waiting for. Is this true from a doctor's perspective?
I think it's a difficult question to ask. I'm not entirely sure let me admit my ignorance in that area.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure how the stem cells, how the bone marrow transplant would cure, yeah, sickle cell in the long term.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that maybe somebody else may be able to answer that question. But
Okay. Okay. How does sickle cell affect our eyes as warriors? Because most of us tend to have major eye issues.
Well, I guess, like I said, it's a thrombotic process. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a possibility that blood vessels supplying the eyes may be affected in the thrombotic process, and the blood flow to the eye may be affected.
Mm-hmm.
That could be one of the reasons why they sometimes develop eye issues.
Okay.
Yeah, there may be others, but that is what I can think about.
Okay.
Yeah.
In first world countries, warriors are actually paid disability fund by their government. Is sickle cell something you'd cluster as a disability?
That's tough, eh? But it depends on which level you are looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there are intellectual capabilities, and of course there are physical abilities.
Mm-hmm.
A sickler who is well looked after,
Yeah.
may not necessarily serve as intellectual capabilities.
True. Yeah.
So that sickler will have just his intelligence level will be the same as any normal person,
Mm-hmm.
and on those grounds, therefore, that person cannot be said to be
Disabled.
disabled.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at it from the physical point of view, where sometimes they suffer a lot of intractable pain, yeah, which may make them unable to do certain functions. Maybe one may want to look at it from that point and say there's some element of disability.
Okay. Okay. So we know sickle cell is a life-threatening disease, sometimes fatal. More times it's actually fatal. In your career as a doctor, how many deaths have you experienced out of sickle cell disease?
Well, I've mostly worked as an outpatient practitioner,
Mm-hmm.
and but I think there are, in my career, which has spanned almost 40 years, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen around maybe 4 or so deaths occurring because of sickle cell. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
However, maybe somebody working in a hospital environment might have different figures.
Okay.
These days, of course, in the past, the mortality rate was very high, but
Yeah.
now with the advent of more understanding of the disease
Yeah.
and management of the disease, I think the chances of a person suffering sickle cell living a long and a comfortable life, very comfortable life, is there. I wouldn't want to imagine that if you have sickle cell, then you are sentenced to death.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so being my uncle and a doctor, how was it for you treating a normal sickle cell patient as compared to a close family relative with sickle cell also?
first and foremost, as a doctor, you want to try and put away the emotions when you're managing your patient. Yeah. So most of the times you want to look at the patient and treat whatever the issue that has brought him or her to you, whether it is sickle cell or it is any other illness. However, one sometimes cannot withdraw from the fact that you are related, and you may have certain emotional attachment to the person. The best thing to do under those circumstances is to let somebody else handle the case. But in my case, I think I was able to manage you, despite the fact that you are my relative, fairly well. I want to imagine.
Was there a point where you were scared I would die also, like while you were taking care of me? Or?
I don't think that the thought of you dying ever crossed my mind when I was looking after you. There were times, of course, when you were fairly ill, and certain actions had to be taken to ensure that you were relieved of your pain. But I always believed that you'd come out of it, and I think I was right, because here you are. Here you are. Okay. So I can't say that I really felt that I was going to lose you. No.
Okay. Oh, that's great. Okay. Lastly, any advice to warriors out there, like what actions to take, how to go about making sure they're healthy, and just how to survive, basically?
Well, I think I've probably mentioned most of them. You need to ensure, if you are a warrior, that you are always well hydrated. Take a lot of fluids. And be faithful to your medication. There are certain medications that you take daily. Ensure that you take those medications daily, because there's a reason for which you are being given the medication. And at the earliest time when you experience a problem, seek medical help. Because you don't wait until the problem has become severe. Like I said earlier on, the commonest presentation of the patient is usually thrombotic crisis. And thrombotic crisis comes with pain. So the first thing you do when you go into that kind of crisis is just ensure you take a lot of fluid, then seek medical attention.
Okay. Thank you so much. I feel like we have rushed through this video, but hopefully you got something out of this. Hopefully you learned something new. Please help us keep spreading awareness for this disease. This is a very silent but very dangerous disease, and we need all the help we can get. So thank you so much for watching yet another video on Sickle Cell Monday. Please keep telling a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend to check us out, and let's fill this house up. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.